Hey, beautiful human. It's me, Rebecca. Welcome to another episode of Effective Immediately, where we talk about all things mindset, healing, leadership, abundance, and I leave you with something that you can use effective immediately in your life. Today we're going to be talking about the power and the importance of resilience in leadership. Are you ready for this? Do we even know what the heck resilience means? Resilience is the ability to be flexible and adaptable and to tap into your creativity and all the resources that you have when there's a stressful situation. It's that simple. And when you are feeling in a state of resilience and you're able to adapt, you can find solutions to things quickly. You can be in leadership mode much better, whether it's self-leadership or leading the people in your life, right? And what's really special about resilience is that you get to tap into your creativity. I mentioned that even already because it is so important for you to be able to tap into that part of you that is connected to the limitless resources of the universe, okay? And at least into your resources that you have developed over your life. Let's talk about what isn't resilience, what doesn't look like resilience, okay? Okay, so it's baseball season right now, and you've probably seen a pitcher or heard about a pitcher who throws ball after ball, just not striking anybody out, just walking people over and over and over again, finally has to be replaced, right? Well, here's the thing. That person is not in resilience, right? They are in their head. They're worried about what has happened in the past. They're not focused on what has happened, what is happening in the present. There is a term in poker, I used to be a poker player, that is called tilt. And when someone makes a bad move and they get in their head and they get really mad at themselves or mad at the people at the table or mad at the world, they start making decisions from that negative emotional place. They call it tilt. So think of a moment in your life when some stuff went down and it took you down. You found out some news about somebody. You heard that you were passed over for a promotion, or you heard that somebody was talking about you at the office, whatever it is, right? And think about the response that you had, the reaction that you had. Think about what happened. What emotions came up for you immediately? How long did it take you out? And by take you out, I mean, how long did you think about it? Was it a few minutes and you moved on? Was it a few days and you complained about it to everybody you knew? Did it spiral you into a panic or a depression? This is a little self-assessment, okay, about your level of resilience. There is no bad answer here, okay? You're not a failure if you have a response that you don't like. It just is an indicator that you get to build up that resilience inside of you. Okay, now resilience can look like that you're really good at managing stressful situations. It means that you remain optimistic in the face of difficult times. It means that you can be flexible, you can be adaptable, and you can allow yourself to be creative during those different circumstances. These are all very important skills for a leader. So, thinking of those moments where maybe you didn't have the resilience you wanted to have, I want you to take a pause. And I want you to forgive yourself, because I don't want you to carry negativity about this. I want you to carry awareness about this. These new realizations that you have about yourself, it's not an opportunity to judge yourself. We do plenty of that anyway. All of this information is data. And with this, you can look at this data and notice that you have a place in your life that you can work on. You can put some energy into working on. Okay, so let's talk about building resilience a little bit. Because building resilience is really about building your self-acceptance, and it's about building your stress management and even building your self-esteem, the way you think about yourself. Okay, so how do we build self-acceptance? Well, the first thing we would do is release judgment, right? This is why I'm talking to you about not judging yourself about the amount of resilience you have or think you have had in the past. Simply start to look at what is good about you. If you've had a lot of mind gunk about all the ways that you're doing things wrong, all the ways that you're showing up imperfectly, all the things that you're doing that aren't as good as what they could be, you're not in a place of self-acceptance. You're not in a place of self-acceptance, are you? So start thinking about where you are succeeding. And in fact, what I have most of my clients do is every single day write down 3 things that they did well that day, thinking about how it made them feel, why it made them feel, how it felt in their body, and what qualities they noticed about themselves that were present in doing those things well. This is a very simple way for you to build up your self-acceptance, just to start to notice, even noticing the way your self-talk is, and then shifting it to be more loving, more accepting for yourself is a wonderful way of building self-acceptance. Now, as you do that, your self-esteem is going to shift too. I mean, think about if you're not saying nice things to yourself, how worthy and deserving are you going to feel? How much trust you're going to have for yourself? Right. So think about now, if you start adding all of this good self-talk in, right? You start shifting. You're not lying to yourself. You're really looking at what's true for you, and you're amplifying the truth of your gifts, your skills, your best characteristics, your strengths. And you're not judging the things that we would call weaknesses or areas of opportunity. Right? You're not judging yourself as much, and you're also giving yourself more praise, more love, more acceptance. Imagine what happens to your self-acceptance, your worthiness, and your self-trust. Resilience. One of the key pieces of resilience is self-trust, that you can trust yourself, that no matter what happens in your life, that you can move through it in the way that you want to. One of the things about not being in a state of strong resilience is that you're going to be operating from the past, right? We talk about this all the time, how every single experience that you're in, your brain is going to go and look for reference files from the past. It's going to go find an experience that you had in your life that matches the circumstances, the emotional feelings, the physical responses, all of that for right now. And it's going to pull you back to that experience and have you respond in that same way. This is very important for you to remember, because sometimes we can get in these fights with ourselves. Why am I behaving this way? I've learned so much. I've moved forward so many times. Why am I still being activated in this way? Why am I still operating from this old way of being? But here's the thing. Here's what's really amazing. That you can actually use hypnosis to go back to those old experiences, those past experiences. And let me just give you a little asterisk here. Most of the experiences that you are operating on right now, most of the past experiences, most of the neural pathways were set up before you were 8 years old. This is why taking an opportunity for you to heal, for you to strengthen your mind, is so valuable because you're operating off of old responses that were set up when you were a kid. And we all do this. And the responses don't shift until we do the shifting. You either have to do it consciously and fight your mind to do it, or you can use hypnosis and go back to those experiences where there was doubt, guilt, shame, blame, betrayal, anger, frustration, fear, whatever the case may be. And we can actually, in the state of hypnosis, when you speak about those experiences, neutralize the physical, emotional, and behavioral responses. And why is that so important? Because every single time we are in an experience, our brain is going back and using those circumstances, those events, those memories as a recipe for how to respond in the current moment. And the more that recipe is used, the easier it comes up. And the more that recipe is used, the stronger the habit, the emotional habit becomes. Until someday you realize that you're angry and you don't even know why. You're anxious and there's nothing to be anxious about. You wake up in the morning with a pit in your stomach or heaviness on your chest. Before you even open your eyes, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling yucky. That's because those patterns have been used. And no fault of your own. Through no fault of your own, this is the way the human brain works. It's messy up there sometimes. So give yourself grace. And just know that as you are in those experiences, as you are in the present moment and you're operating from the past, this is the way everybody does it. But this is not an excuse for you to not take change, to make changes. This is not an excuse for you to not change the way that you operate. The old story, oh, this is the way I've always been, that's actually a really, really big excuse. And I know that might piss you off a little bit. I've always felt this way. I've always been this way. This is who I am. Those are really nice excuses for not wanting to change, not wanting to grow. And all that signals to me, not that you're a bad person, is that your mind has conditioned you that change is bad, that growth is bad. Because let's remember, our beautiful mind really wants us to stay safe, right? Our subconscious mind is only focused on keeping us safe. It does not care about our happiness. It wants us to stay safe. And when we say stay safe, what that means is not changing, staying in the similar. It's really powerful. It's really powerful just to know that, isn't it? Many of you know this already. I'm not telling you anything that's probably brand new information, but I want to reiterate how powerful you are and how powerful your choices are. Because when we go back and shift those experiences, we go back and peel away the layers of frustration, hurt, and anger, and fear. What is left is peace, confidence, and we can infuse lots of self-love, self-worth, self-trust. So that when a stressful situation happens next, you're operating from right now. You're operating from that file. That file now has self-confidence, self-trust in it. And that allows you to operate from the present moment, from the resources you have now, not reacting from the resources you had as a child or young person, or when the trauma that happened in your life, and we all have it, occurred, but from right now. From the place of leadership that you are, from the place of the resources that you have now, from your desires and your vision that you have for yourself right now. Not that old way. This is extremely powerful for you to know because you have the power of choice. You can continue operating from that old way, or you can practice being here in the present. There are things that you can do. You can practice meditation. You can practice visualization. You can practice self-hypnosis. And if you want to go deep, this is my specialty. I'm the anxiety eraser, and I can help you go back to the past, release those feelings, the usually Fear, anger, and sadness are all woven together in every experience that we have. We can peel back those layers, bring you the self-acceptance, the self-love, the self-trust that you want. Okay, how's this feeling for you? This is how we develop that emotional resilience. When you can be in the present and operate from here and be in that creativity, the flexibility, and the self-trust that you can manage the situation without it taking you down, without taking to the bed, without running from your life. Without being angry at yourself, without creating emotional responses and anger at the people around you. You get to be in your full self-leadership, your full responsibility, and operate from here. It's a really empowered place to operate from. Okay, so here is your effective immediately moment for this week. The next time that something is thrown at you from out of the blue, I want you to take a pause. And you got to practice the pause. There's power in the pause. Okay? Take a pause, take a breath. Think about how the former versions of yourself would have responded to the situation. Give yourself a breath and think about, how would I respond? Would I respond or would I react? And in that pause, I want you to think about how the current version of you and how the future versions of yourself would like you to respond to this situation. How would you think? What would you believe? How would you behave? How would you speak? What would be your next right action? And then operate from there. This is a practice. Practice makes better. I'm not looking for perfection. You don't need to look for perfection either, because you will never find it. You get to be perfectly imperfect and still create powerful experiences in your life, create powerful responses in your life, and be the emotionally resilient person that you want to be. Now, if you're ready to go all in on your healing, the anger, the fear, the sadness, the frustration, and you want support doing it, you know you need support doing it. Sometimes we can't get out of the mud if we're in the mud, right? And you think I'm your person, I'd love to have a call with you. You can go to callwithrebecca.com and set up a consultation intro call with me, or you can send me a DM. Okay? Thank you so much for being with me today, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.